Among its many performance properties, motor oil is formulated to reduce friction and wear to the internal engine parts it lubricates. This simple friction machine provides an easy way to observe friction and wear as they occur under various conditions. This demonstration is not meant to duplicate actual internal engine conditions, but merely to provide a mechanism for comparing the relative friction and wear reducing properties of different lubricants. The friction machine is powered by the motor, which turns a hardened steel race. Via a torque wrench and lever, a steel roller bearing which is locked in a holder can be pushed against the rotating race. The pressure applied to the roller bearing can be observed on the torque wrench gauge. The current draw can be observed on the amp meter on the machine, and the resulting wear scar on the roller bearing can be visually observed following each stage of the demonstration. With the machine assembled and the motor running, the torque wrench is initially depressed to apply pressure to the roller bearing against the rotating race with no lubrication present. As pressure is applied, the current draw increases, noise increases, heat as evidenced by smoke is produced, and when enough pressure is applied, the roller bearing and race physically weld together and seize. When the roller bearing is observed, the large wear scar generated under these no lubrication conditions is obvious. The same roller bearing can then be rotated to expose a fresh surface and a cup attached to the machine to allow the addition of a lubricant. This time, a quality name brand motor oil is used to lubricate the roller bearing race interface. When the torque wrench is depressed, there is still an increase in current draw by the motor, and with increasing pressure as shown on the torque wrench, the generation of frictional heat becomes obvious. When the motor is shut off and the roller bearing is observed, the large wear scar is again obvious, although it is not as severe as the scar generated without any lubrication. Once again, the roller bearing is rotated to expose a fresh surface. This time, Wynn Supreme Plus oil supplement is added to the original motor oil in the lubricant cup. Now when the machine is turned on and pressure is applied to the torque wrench, the benefits of this Wynn's product become clear. No matter how much pressure is applied to the torque wrench, the current draw remains unchanged. The machine remains quiet and there is no smoke generated by frictional heat. When the machine is turned off and the wear scar observed, it is found to be extremely small in relation to the previous scars, evidence of the friction and wear reducing properties of Wynn Supreme Plus. What do you want when protecting your engine? Now this simple test can be made more severe by adding real-world contamination to the protective lubricant. First, dirt is added to the lubricant to simulate dusty conditions and an ineffective air filter. Then sulfuric acid is added to simulate the acid produced during the combustion process and introduced into the engine oil via combustion blow-by. Then gasoline is added to represent unburned fuel that also enters the engine oil via blow-by. Finally, the entire mixture is ignited to simulate the extreme heat of normal driving. When the torque wrench is depressed, there is still no increase in current draw, still no excessive noise, and still no obvious heat generation. When the fire is extinguished, the motor turned off, and the roller bearing examined, the wear scar is still extremely small and virtually unchanged. Once again, the roller bearing was not rotated to a fresh surface for this stage. As a last test of the friction and wear reducing properties of Wynn Supreme Plus oil supplement, the lubricant cup is removed, the race wiped clean of lubrication. Now the machine is turned on, and the torque wrench is depressed as before. Even with extreme pressure applied under conditions of no lubrication, as evidenced by the reading on the torque wrench, there is no increase in current draw by the motor, no excessive noise, and no excessive heat. The residual protection supplied by Wynn Supreme Plus is still in place, protecting the roller bearing from friction and wear. Examining the roller bearing is once again the ultimate proof of the tremendous effectiveness of Wynn Supreme Plus, even under the most severe conditions. Would you be satisfied with mere motor oil, or do you want this kind of protection provided by Wynn Supreme Plus for your engine and your peace of mind?